move the little mouse. Everybody's happy. Speaker, mouse, same thing, different level. It's a little black box in front of me. All right. We're going to back up chapter 24, verse 26. And we'll read to 32 again. Or sorry, I'm going to go to 35. I believe that's give or take about where we stopped. Genesis 24. We're going to start with verse 26. So 24, 26 is where we're going to start. We're going to go to 35.
And the man bowed down his head and worshiped the Lord.
And he said, Blessed be the Lord God of my master Abraham, who has not forsaken his mercy and his truth toward my master. As for me, being on the way, the Lord led me to the house of my master's brethren.
28.
I can't find it, so go ahead. Then the young woman ran and told her mother's household about these things.
Rebekah had a brother whose name was Laban. Laban ran out toward the man to the spring.
Well, I got a lot of words in mine.
I don't think that's what it says.
Say pass if I can read it.
Came to pass, and saw the earring and bracelets on his sister's hand. When he heard the words of Rebekah his sister, saying, Thus spake the man unto me, that he came unto the man, and behold, he stood 5 camels at the well.
And he said, Come in, O blessed of the Lord. Why do you stand outside? For I have prepared the house and a place for the camels.
Then the man came to the house, and he unloaded the camels and provided straw and feed for the camels and water to wash his feet and the feet of the men who were with him.
He set before him to eat, but he said, I will not eat until I have told out my errand. And he said, Speak on.
And he said, I am Abraham's servant.
The Lord has blessed my master greatly, and he has become great, and he has given him flock and herds, silver and gold, male and female servants, and camels and donkeys.
Okay, we'll stop there for just a minute. All right. When Rebekah's brother Laban brought Abraham's servant in, what did they do? Did they just come into the house and be done? No. They'd unloaded the donkeys, give everything straw, wash the feet. And who else's feet did they wash? Servants. So that's everybody, you know. You have somebody come from a distance away. Do you just say, oh, there's a chair, sit down? I mean, anymore, that's pretty much what happens. But if you think about it, but at this time, you can see the hospitality in Laban here. You know, what he's doing, how he's treating this servant of Abraham plus the help. Because really, it's not just the servant. He's also got other men with him.
But you think the nose ring and the bracelets influenced that?
May have had some sway over it.
Because it said, you know, he noticed those. But did he notice them because he knows what it meant, or because he saw it all the time?
Well, I'm trying to think if it was just, you know, like I'm not even going to go there. So it would be something new. I would think that wouldn't feel that good, but just saying. But yeah, for the size of this stuff and what it is, I mean, gold, what is it today? You know, if it's some jewelry, I'm going to say this wrong. Bracelets and a nose ring. I can do that. I can say that and actually get it to come out. My tongue, I bit into my tongue, so words aren't going to be very easy. It's numb. But, you know, everything that she had on her is going to be blingy. It's going to be shiny. And you would think, at least the way I look at things, are you going to get dressed up to go get water to water the animals? I mean, if you think about it for a second, you're not going to be dressed up real fancy like. to go out here and play in a pig pen. Just, I don't ever see anything like that happening. I mean, it just doesn't happen. So she came back from the well with more than she went with, is the way I'm going to take it. And I don't know if it was a custom per se to give all this stuff and then, hey, you're going with me type of a deal, kind of weird. But to us, at that time, it was probably something they did as a way of showing tradition type. But I do think it would have had bearing on his reaction. Had it been somebody just down the street, I don't know where their reaction would have been the same thing.
Would that have helped Madison or Scott?
Well, I did say something about a dowry, but yeah, no, I think I'm going to lose on all fronts. I actually just know how to keep my mouth shut. And honestly, if you look at Laban, he's kind of that way as we read on here. He doesn't really say a whole lot positive or negative towards this. So I'm in the same boat because I have to keep peace at home. I'm getting the look anyway. I didn't even have to say anything. It's amazing how that works. Yeah, I'm not very good at it. Anybody that knows me knows that's not going to happen. What was Abraham's servant wanting to say before he did anything else? Before he stopped, before he sat down, before he did much? What was he wanting to say to him? He was stating the purpose of the trip. And to me, what else did he show there in that explanation? I'm going to say this wrong too, probably.
That God blessed him, that his master.
You know, what had happened to Abraham? I mean, I'm sure their cell phones and the telephones and postal service all worked great at that time. What had Abraham done? He'd done well because God had blessed him, but what also had he done? Was he in the region right there next to him? No. He'd moved away from his own family. He'd moved out away from them. And, you know, there's no camel cell phone. You don't just pop the hump up, pull a cell phone out, and there you go. There's no way of immediate being able to talk to people. It's something that courier, you'd have to have something, you'd have to go. So it's something that they're not going to know. They're not going to really know what happened to Abraham prior to that without conversations between. So this guy comes in and says Abraham's done well for himself and told him the purpose of the trip and all that Abraham had gotten. All right? Any other comments for that portion of it? I didn't print front and back. All right, let's read 36 to 40. Let's go to 49. 36 to 49.
And Sarah, my master's wife, bore a son to my master when she was old, and to him he has given all that he has.
Now my master made me swear, saying, You shall not take a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites, in whose land I dwell.
But you shall go to my father's house and to my family and take a wife for my son.
And I said to my master, perhaps the woman will not follow me.
But he said to me, The Lord before whom I walk will send his angel and with you and prosper your ways, and you shall take a wife for my son from the family from my father's house. Then shall
You will be clear from this oath when you arrive among my family. For if they will not give her to you, then you will be redeemed from my oath.
And I came this day unto the well and said, O Lord God of my master Abraham, if thou
Behold, I stand by the well of water, and it shall come to pass that when the virgin comes out to draw water, and I say to her, please give me a little water from your pitcher to drink.
And she says to me, drink, and I will draw for your camels also. Let her be the woman whom the Lord has appointed for my master's son.
But before I had finished speaking in my heart, there was Rebekah coming out with her pitcher on her shoulder, and she went down to the well and drew water. And I said to her, please let me drink.
And she made haste and let her pitcher down from her shoulder, said, drink, and I will give your camels drink also. So I drank, and she gave the camels drink also.
Then I asked her and said, whose daughter are you? And she said, the daughter of Bethuel, Naor's son, whom Milcah bore to him. So I put the nose ring on her nose and the bracelets on her wrists.
Then I bowed my head and worshipped the Lord and blessed the Lord, the God of my master Abraham, who had led me by the right way to take the daughter of my master's kinsman for his son.
Now then, if you're going to show steadfast love and faithfulness to my master, tell me, and if not, tell me that I may turn to the right hand or to the left.
Okay. What did the servant say about Sarah?
That she bore a son to his master when she was old.
So she was old. But what did he also say about Isaac? Or what did he get? Let's put it that way. He gets everything. So the inheritance. You would look at that as a point of a sale, really. I guess is kind of the way I look at it. It's like, I'm here to pick up a wife for my master's son, and by the way, he gets everything. And he led into this by saying that all Abraham had gained, and this would be Isaac's, and then he's here to pick up a wife from them. So if you could kindly give me a wife, but by the way, she'll be well taken care of, is kind of the way I take it from what he's saying. It's not I got a broke guy at home that doesn't have anything and never will type of a deal. He's showing them what he will have. Where was this servant supposed to go? Back to Abraham's family. He wasn't supposed to just pick somebody out of the blue. The wife was supposed to come from his own. And if you think about that, we look later and we see things that happen as we go down the road as far as picking people out of the countryside and from different nations. A lot of times if they have a different ideal, we see throughout the Old Testament what happens when you start to intermarry with some of these and the problems that brings in. So my best thought here would be, how do you find somebody that aligns with what you're thinking? You're not picking somebody just out left field, right field. You're going to pick somebody that at least has some of the same morals or same standards as they had. All right. What did the servant say that he had asked for? That'd be good. I think that'll work. What was the servant asking God for? I guess I'll ask. That might be easier, better worded question. Sign. He'd been told that an angel would go with him. Something would come about of it, and then he'd ask God. He wasn't putting all the stress on himself. He asked for God's help in this. This is what it'll be. Abraham had said that, if you go and nobody wants to come, then you're free. But, as high up as this servant was, he wasn't one to want to disappoint Abraham. He was wanting to go in and actually do the right thing, which is what he's doing here. I mean, he's smart enough to go and ask God for help in this situation. What do we notice the servant do in verse 52? Did I get to 52? I haven't got to 52. Did I get ahead of myself?
50, I think, didn't we?
Yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself. In fact, I might have got ahead of myself already. Where's my other question? Hold on. Backing up. Okay, no, I just didn't read far enough. My fault. Let's go ahead and go. Where's the end of the chapter? Let's just take it to the end of the chapter. That way we can just go with it. Sorry. We start in verse 50.
Then Laban and Bethel answered and said, Thank proceedeth from the Lord, we shall not speak unto thee bad or good.
Here is Rebekah before you. Take her and go, and let her be your master's son's wife, as the Lord has spoken.
And it came to pass, when Abraham's servant heard their words, that he worshipped the Lord, bowing himself to the earth.
And then the servant brought out jewelry and silver, jewelry and gold clothing, and gave them to Rebekah. He also gave precious things to her brother and to her mother.
And they did eat and drink, and he and the men were with him, and tarried all night. And they rose up the next morning, and he said, Send me away unto my master.
But her brother and her mother said, Let the young woman stay with us a few days, at least 10. After that she may go.
And he said to them, Do not hinder me, since the Lord has prospered my way. Send me away, so that I may go to my master.
So they said, We will call the young woman and ask her.
Then they called Rebekah and said to her, Will you go with this man? And she said, I will go.
So they sent away Rebekah, their sister, and her nurse, and Abraham's servant, and his men.
And they blessed Rebekah and said to her, Our sister, may you become the mother of thousands of 10,000s, and may your descendants possess the gates of those who hate them.
Then Rebekah and her maid arose. They rode on camels and followed the man. So the servant took Rebekah and departed.
And Isaac came from the way of the well, for he dwelt in the south country.
And Isaac went out to meditate in the field in the evening. He lifted his eyes and looked, and there were the camels coming.
Then Rebekah lifted her eyes, and when she saw Isaac, she dismounted from her camel.
For she had said to the servant, Who is this man walking in the field to meet us? The servant said, It is my master. So she took a veil and covered herself.
And the servant told Isaac all the things that he had done.
Then Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent. And he took Rebekah, and she became his wife, and he loved her. So Isaac was comforted after his mother's death.
Okay, now we can back up here. I might not overrun myself now. I did miss a couple spots. The full story of what that guy and the servant had done, him asking God, the things came along as he'd asked. Rebekah had done everything the way he'd asked for it. So the woman he was supposed to take with him for Isaac as wife was Rebekah by the way that it came about. I did mess that up, sorry. All right. And this became in verse 51 where it was from God. So did Laban and Bethuel speak ill or speak against sending Rebekah? No. They'd understood kind of what was going on, what was happening, and if it was from God, they were smart enough, at least knew enough, that if you try to fight against God, you lose. That's a no-win situation on the front end. All right. Verse 52, what did the servant do?
You worship the Lord.
He worshiped the Lord. So again, the example there is he's looking to God. He's thanking God, worshiping Him, thanking Him for basically making his track or the job he was sent out to do prosperous. Did he come back empty-handed? No. Did things come about what he'd asked for in the way he asked for it? Yes. So everything there shows that if he was just sent to pick out somebody, did he have a roster to go by? I can go to this family and talk to them about such and such. There was nothing there to go by. I'm assuming he had to have some names of somebody or something to get in the general area, but there's nothing in here that says that, go to this well and you'll find what you're looking for, guaranteed. The family, trying to find somebody of that. I mean, there's a lot of variables that had to come into play correctly for this to work, and God had done that. Okay, what did Rebecca's family get out of this marriage? Or send off, really more so than anything else? A lot. Take in some trade on some clothes. Yeah, I haven't got that yet either, so still waiting on that. Did the servant stop by just giving the Rebecca the gold? No. Let's see here. Verse 53, where he brought out jewelry and silver, gold. The mother and the brothers, doesn't really say anything about the father in here, but the mother and brothers, paid off, really is what it amounts to. So it's like selling your sister off, which, no, you're not doing that. I get a smirk from the back row right now. So I think she'd be all right with that. But they did it this time. What do we see them wanting to do next?
Well, first they tell them, here she is, go, and then they're asking, no, we want to wait 10 days.
What's the problem with the 10-day wait?
Might change your mind.
I asked you one of your questions, see?
Change their mind.
Change their mind. I don't really want to get into the next one that we're going to be in, but what happens the next time somebody goes back for a wife? Does he leave with her like they do here? Yeah, he gets to, well, that's a whole nother problem. I didn't even think about that one. That's almost worse. He gets 2 for 1, and he's stuck there for a while. I could see them doing the same thing here with, wait 10 days, and then wait 10 days, and then wait 10 days. But what do we notice this servant says? Exactly. So he's kind of putting an ultimatum out there saying, hey, I have no time to wait. My master, you'd figure on the trip, Caleb said last week, the camels cut across, shave some time off. But was this a situation that needed to be taken slow and steady? I mean, granted, you need to get there in one piece and back in one piece. But is this something that could take several days? Or you look at Abraham and where he's at in life, if you think about it. How old is he? He's up there in age. You think about it. So he's got some age on him. Are we guaranteed days? I could see that being a push to get back with a wife, so at least Abraham, had he been dead, at least he would have known that what the servant was doing was correct.
Plus, everything had fallen into place exactly as him and the Lord had lined out.
Exactly. And I think that's why you see later on in here that they be like, well, do you want to go? Which is going to be my next question, so I just answered it. I don't think so. We weren't quite that far along yet. But he had enough age on him that I'll have to dig into that. I'll get you an answer next week.
He put his hand under his leg, and I thought it was, for some reason, it seemed like he was in bed.
Well,
Didn't Isaac's mother die before?
yeah, Isaac's mother's already died. So,
She was dead before this, or she
before
died
this.
shortly afterwards?
No, I believe it was before this.
No, he went, I gave her to,
Yeah. So,
I mean, Abraham, didn't he take another wife?
yeah,
So, I mean, he's not.
that's the next. No, yeah, he's not dead, but. I mean, I get to that old. If I can still move. What'd she say?
Not that far gone if he took another wife. He's still got some game.
Yeah, there was, yeah.
I'm not even going to say anything. I just you get to a certain point, I just don't need to dig my hole any deeper. I live in the bottom of it. It's kind of dark down there. But what did Rebecca say? What would she do? Now think about this for a second. Where has she lived her entire life? Now what's being asked of her? So the one thing you'd have going for you is you knew God was with this guy. So you got a pretty good chance. But, to me it's a little bit weird on the brother part too, because he's like, oh, here, yeah, just go with this. I don't know this servant. He says he knows Abraham, this, that, or the other. But how comfortable would you be with sending a young woman with a guy that's going to leave? You don't really,
That you didn't even know.
Exactly. And then you got her where she's like, yes. So, and I can see a little bit of that where they want to go out and do stuff, take off, leave mom and dad. They really don't care. And doesn't make anybody in the family side feel good about, they're going to traipse across the countryside, other countries and whatnot. So it gives you a little bit of unnervingness. So I could see where their point would be of the 10 days. But when they ask her and she says she'll go.
Maybe she wouldn't have to carry any more water.
Maybe she was tired of carrying water. Maybe what she didn't realize is she was going to have to carry a lot more water. You never know. But good point. Tired of the same old stuff every day in, day out, But she said she'd go. So she goes. Who went with her? And her nurse? Just Rebecca. It says their sister. So meaning Rebecca and her nurse. So everybody goes, you get a wife, you get a nurse. With them, I guess. I don't, why you got to get 2 for 1 there, but it's what it is. What did they ask for, Rebecca? You look in verse 60.
I don't know, I want you to explain that one to me.
Huh?
Verse 60, I don't get it.
They're asking her to be blessed with for more, many children.
To procreate the world, I guess.
Yeah, basically what it amounts to. So more children than you can number. I can't imagine doing that. Trying to keep track of too many people there. But you also notice at the end there, and then possess the gates of those that hate her. So it's power and control. Go ahead.
Oh, the promise made to Abraham in Genesis 12, that the idea that Abraham's descendants would become, like the sand of the sea, innumerable. So this was the lineage of that. And so, the question is, how much did they know about that? That's interesting conversation.
Yeah, because you would think he would have left and they may not have known about that.
So they had to know about Abraham somewhat, right?
We don't know. We
But
don't know.
it's his country is where he came from. I don't know if that.
There might have been a little bit of that.
1,000 miles away by general travel, you know, but how much news got back, we don't know. But definitely they wanted, and then I think in the 60, something that's notable, says the gates of those who hate them, not her, but them.
Mhm.
And the two of them together, you know, and all the descendants, you know, just all time.
Well, you look at the Israelite nation after that, as they come out, they're taking people out as they go into the land. You know, there's several countries, peoples that don't like them, but yet they take over the countryside. They own the gates at that point. Now, there's a lot of failure and possession there, but the amount of control, I guess, is the easiest way to state it, on what Israel as a whole or nation held at one time. You know, they held the gates, they held control, they prospered. But, you know, this is the beginning of that. This is the start of all that's coming. So I think a lot of it gets answered. Did we answer your question at all? Or did we just confuse you completely?
I think we keep working on that one.
Okay. Well, I could see the smoke. I was a little bit nervous. See, I got me a timer back here now. He's about 6 foot. Goes back and stands in the back. He gets tired of listening to me. So,
Are you going to 25 next week?
yeah. Hold on. Yeah, we'll be in 25, but we're going to jump about halfway down. Hit me with what you got.
Oh,
I'm
you know, Midian's mentioned in the first 4 verses. And when Moses killed the Egyptian, he fled the land of Midian.
Mhm.
Those were their people, you know. I guess you'd call them cousins.
Yeah, it would have been on the other side.
Very Keturah, you know, bore that genealogy. So,
Hmm.
something to think about.
Any more comments? Thank you.